Good afternoon. My name is Elaine Ulrich, and I'd like to thank you all for joining us for the Secure Energy with CESER information session. I am going to turn things over briefly to the Chief Operating Officer of the CESER office, Marcia Manning, who will help us to kick things off. Marcia?
Thank you, Elaine, and welcome everyone to the first ever Securing Energy with CESER information session. We're excited to have all of the interested parties joining us today to learn about the great works that are performed here at the Office of Cybersecurity, Energy Security, and Emergency Response. You'll hear a lot of great information about the different programs and offices that make up the CESER organization and from some of our wonderful staff here at the Department of Energy. Thank you, Elaine.
Thank you, Marcia. So I'm going to start off with a quick overview of the CESER office. So the mission of the CESER office is to strengthen the security and resilience of the U.S. energy sector from cyber, physical, and climate-based risks and disruptions. This includes cyber threats, climate risks, physical threats, electromagnetic pulses and geomagnetic disturbances, as well as supply chain. Our priorities are to advance risk analysis, help to secure the supply chain, buy down risks through threat-informed research development and demonstration, provide cybersecurity expertise to all Department of Energy program offices, build cyber capacity across industry and state, local, tribal, and territorial partners, and strengthen response and restoration capabilities in light of increased climate and cyber threats facing the energy sector. We're able to do this work because CESER has a strong group of core values that we all take into account. We start with trust. We embody a mission-driven learning culture. Inclusivity is core to the work we do. We act with integrity and accountability. We show respect. We aim to be as transparent as possible. We strive for excellence, and we embrace teamwork. Our leadership team is shown here. Piyush Kumar is our director, and Andrew Wills and Monica Newcomb help to lead the entire office. We have 5 divisions led by the deputy directors that you see pictured here. These directors lead the following offices. You can see that we have a cross-cutting front office, which is our leadership. We have a strategic communications team that supports the other teams, as well as the corporate business office, which supports the other teams. I sit on the preparedness, policy, and risk analysis team, which has 3 branches: energy security policy and partnerships, exercises, training, and workforce development, risk analysis, resilience, and recovery. We also have a risk management tools and technology team, which has 2 branches: all hazards tools and technologies, as well as cyber tools and technologies. We have a response and restoration team that works on all hazards situational awareness and analysis, all hazards response operations, and response preparedness and support. And the Office of Petroleum Reserves also sits within the CESER office and is broken up into the following branches: planning and engineering, operations and readiness, budget and financial management technologies, management and administration, reserve lands and management, and the SPR project management office. Today, we're talking about the Preparedness, Policy, and Risk Analysis Office division, the Risk Management Tools and Technologies division, the Response and Restoration division, and our Corporate Business Office divisions. We'll hear more about each of these branches shortly. Our office works very closely through a number of partnerships that include state, local, tribal, and territorial governments and organizations that help to represent them. We help to manage sector coordinating councils through the Energy Government Coordinating Council, and we work with industry councils. With that, I'd like to give you a chance to hear more about our divisions. And so first up, I'm going to turn it over to Soham Pawar, who's going to talk about preparedness, policy, and risk analysis.
Awesome. Thank you, Elaine. And hello, everyone. I'm Soham Pawar. I'm an analyst in our Preparedness Policy and Risk Analysis division, and I work on our risk analysis, resilience, and recovery branch. I've been at CESER for just about 8 months. Tomorrow is actually my 8-month anniversary with the Department of Energy, and I'm really excited to talk to you a little bit today about what we do. Before that, I'll give you a little bit of an overview of who I am and some of the things I've really come to enjoy working with this team. So on a day-to-day basis, I get to work across CESER and the PPRA division on a whole bunch of different aspects of our mission. That includes standing up DOE's Energy Threat Analysis Center pilot, which is going to bring together industry and government to really supercharge how we work together to protect our energy system. I support some of our policy development work, and I'm involved in building up our risk analysis and climate impact work, which is something that I'm really passionate about. My favorite thing and what I most enjoy working here, about working here, first of all, I think we're a team of friendly nerds. Everyone here is very passionate, very open to new ideas, and very welcoming, which is really important given the speed of the issues we face and the need to tackle new problems. Additionally, I'm from Jersey, and I have very, very strong memories of sandbagging my own high school right before Hurricane Sandy hit our community. So being here is a really unique opportunity that I never thought I'd have to do work that's personally important and that's important to our country. And finally, just to touch on the core values that Elaine mentioned, acting with integrity and accountability is really at the heart of what we do here at CESER because we need people to trust us. It's really important that we are an honest broker on energy security and resilience, and that's something that we really value. So enough about me. I'll talk to you a little bit now about sort of the work we do here in PPRA. We can click over to the next slide. Awesome. So the Preparedness Policy and Risk Analysis Division leads DOE's work as the sector risk management agency for the energy sector. And so our role within the CESER office is to help understand what threats and risks the energy sector is up against to help prepare for those across all hazards, whether that's cyber, physical, environmental, you name it. As Elaine mentioned, we are really big on partnerships because energy security is a team effort. And so we work with stakeholders from across the energy sector to help advance security and resilience. There are 3 divisions that we're organized into: the Energy Security and Policy team, the Exercises Training and Workforce Development team, and the Risk Analysis, Resilience, and Recovery team, which is where I sit, all of which are part of our PPRA organization. And we do lots of different kinds of work that you can see highlighted here. Some of the things that you see on your screen are some of the sector risk profiles that we work on with our state and local partners, some logos for some of the exercises we run, and a logo highlighting the Cyberforce competition we do as a training program for students. So if we click over to the next slide, let's dig in a little bit more to some of the work the PPRA does. So I'll start from the outside here and work my way in. On the left-hand side, partnerships. We've talked about this a little bit already, but we do a lot of work with industry, from the biggest utility and major oil company to the smallest municipal or co-op utility. And we also work with state, local, tribal, and territorial partners of all forms to help advance energy security preparedness, to work with them on policy issues, and to advance the risk analysis that's going to help inform the security and resilience of the sector. Now, on the right-hand side, we've touched a little bit on DOE's role as the sector risk management agency. And for PPRA, what this means is that we serve as the day-to-day lead for the federal government efforts around critical infrastructure protection in the energy sector. That means we work with the White House and other agencies to help shape policy, including the things you've probably heard about, like the National Cybersecurity Strategy, which was just released. In the center, we've talked a little about training and workforce development. CESER leads some really cool exercises, one of which is called ClearPath and focuses on all hazards, and another which is called Liberty Eclipse, which focuses specifically on cyber threats, as well as takes part in major national exercises and industry-led exercises. We also have some pretty robust training programs, both aimed at bringing folks into the workforce here in the federal government and strengthening skills and partnerships across the energy sector. And finally, in the center, you'll see all hazards preparedness, which is what our work really all comes back to. We have a bunch of programs here that help advance preparedness across a various range of threats for the entire energy sector. Some of these programs are our Rural and Municipal Co-op Utilities Program, which is funded through the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law. The work we do on risk analysis, whether it's with states, the entire energy system, or in support of our national defense. The work we do on threat briefings to make sure that our industry partners know what's out there. And some of the technical work we do on the Cybersecurity Risk Information Sharing Program, which works with industry to share technical threat data. All of this work feeds back into our core mission, and we're really fortunate to work with folks across CESER and DOE to help carry it out. And with that, I will turn it over to Jessica Perry from our Risk Management Tools and Technologies Division to talk about their work.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I am a IT cybersecurity specialist. That's a 2210. Specifically, I work with cybersecurity research, development, and demonstration as a technical program manager. I oversee $50 million in cybersecurity research, development, and a portfolio for threat mitigation programs specific to the energy sector and domestic critical infrastructure programs and pilots. I provide technical advice, counsel, and instruction on complex cybersecurity issues and legislation, both draft and enacted, to headquarters program offices, DOE field offices, and across federal agencies. So it's a really great opportunity to be able to inject various stakeholder needs and inputs. You know, when laws are being built, there's a lot of different programs and working groups you can be involved with, and there are different opportunities to work within CESER and DOE and just also other federal entities, and that's really leads to what my favorite thing and what I enjoy most about working at CESER DOE is there's just a lot of challenging technical issues that need a variety of hardworking and bright colleagues to put their heads together, and that not only includes federal employees, but we work with private industry, whether we're trying to take their ideas and help take it to the next stage of development, or they're taking government IP and trying to commercialize it, or we're just trying to solve something completely brand new that hasn't been solved yet. You know, we work on things that the public should not, will not, and cannot work on, you know, whether that is because of resources or danger, and it makes every day different here, and every annual cycle we get to refresh what we work on in our portfolio. So you're never just working on one thing forever. Basically, you're always having something fresh to work on, because we're an ideation kind of office. So we basically take problems, solve it, and then ship it. So we're always working on new sets of problems. And that's why my core value that I enjoy looking at the most is embracing teamwork. Having come from a military background, I served on active duty for 11 years. I really missed, that camaraderie and just being able to solve a common mission together. That's why I came back to public service, and CESER really, the mission here was what kept me with the government. And there's just a lot of collaboration, internal and external, at CESER, regardless of whatever division you're in. And there's just a lot of opportunity for growth. Next slide, please. Again, RMTT, we do a lot of various problem solving, whether that is trying to take government IP and take it to a new stage, or creating new government IP, or just working with industry or academia to solve something specific that maybe there isn't a solution out there. So there's just so many different ways you can work on different tools and technologies. We have 2 focus areas, specifically that's all hazards tools and technologies, where that addresses natural and human man-made physical risks to energy systems, such as extreme weather, climate change, seismic activity, electromagnetic pulse, and geomagnetic disturbances. We also have cyber tools and technologies that enables innovative protection, detection, and response solutions to address energy delivery systems and supply chain cybersecurity risks, enable situational awareness and information sharing. Some of our programs that are at the forefront of what we're working on now are Cyber Informed Engineering, C2M2, SECA, and Energy CyberSense. Next slide, please. To date, we have delivered more than 80 products, tools, and technologies since 2010 to reduce energy sector cyber risk. More than 1,500 utilities in all 50 states have purchased products developed under RMT research. So this again goes back to, we work on problems that the public should not, cannot, and will not work on, and then we basically make that IP available. So this is whether we have it as a tool or technology, or as that's off the shelf that they can then work with us to use, or whether some commercial entity wants to come and further develop it. 50% of US electricity customers are served by power providers that participate in RMT's R&D pilots and programs, and all R&D projects included an energy sector partner to drive real-world solutions. So it's not strictly a theoretical exercise. We're actually taking it and we're figuring out how we can operationalize things. More than 155 partners have participated in competitively funded projects, and we have a robust portfolio, and we're looking for very motivated engineers and program managers. Thank you.
Thanks, Jessica. Now we'll hear from Christian Kando, who is going to tell us a little bit about the response and restoration team. Christian?
Yeah, thanks, Lane. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Christian Kando, and I am a program manager under the response and restoration under the CESER. as part of my job, I focus specifically on the strategic planning for CESER itself, the Emergency Response Function 12 operations, especially that comes into when we get activated on the National Response Framework. And of course, because of that, I also interact with our FEMA counterparts, and I become a liaison on the National Response Coordination Center. One of the things that I want to bring it up here as part of it is that what is the favorite things? Like as in common, just like my other counterparts, like Jessica, for example. I'm a previous veteran as myself. And this program, what it does is it gives us the opportunity to continue to serve our country. It gives us a privilege to help our nation in a time of need, and of course, it gives you another opportunity to make a difference in the life of others, right? We have discussed a little bit on the CESER core values, and you saw there's a variety, but to me specifically, all of them are very connected to each other, right? Those are core values: accountability, trust, transparency, all those specific traits that gives the importance of good of the mission, and what it does is help all of us to be bigger than ourselves, right? Put our differences aside and focus on what's good of the mission for ourselves. Next slide, please. All right. So the one thing I want to highlight on the response and restoration, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, our office leads the Emergency Support Function 12 under the National Response Framework with FEMA. So what we do is we do a lot of response, and we kind of restore the grid specifically during natural disasters. But if you were wondering why we do this, right? I think what I want to highlight as part of the slides is that energy is our nation's source of growth, right? Innovation and well-being. So I think that's something that's very important for all of us to understand how important energy is. Energy is essential for the nation's economy, social development, infrastructure. So those are very key things that we have to do, right? And one other thing that I want to highlight is that energy systems are very intricate, right? And we depend on when natural disasters or man-made emergencies strike our communities, we're very vulnerable, right? Our threats have changed, right? Natural disasters will always be there, but now we see other threats like cybersecurity that have become very important. So this is the role that response restoration played, and most important, like when these things happened, it's our job, the Department of Energy, through the Response and Restoration Program and DSF-12 and our partnership with FEMA, is that we bring those systems back, right? Hospitals require energy for all of us, our economy and everything else. So those are things that I want to highlight that's very important. And this is the things that I love about not just this job, but the mission itself, that it's under CESER, response restoration, RMT, preparedness. Those just brings our mission to a whole different level compared. So those are the things I want to highlight as part of response restoration. Energy is the nation growth, it's important. And responsive restoration plays a key part of it. So that's all I have. And here on this slide, what I want to just a little bit just kind of demonstrate or depict some of the things that what happened through the 2022 response season. Right, we were activated for many days. We have two active hurricanes, Hurricane Fiona and Hurricane Ian. Right, we got tropical storms, we got wildfires. And the Department of Energy play a key role, not just in all those functions, but even supporting FEMA on the restoration of energy throughout the country, right? So this just kind of depicts, the mission of CESER, responsive restoration, and everybody else who supports this mission. Next slide.
Christian.
Yeah,
all right, we're ready to turn it over to Walter Yemen, who's going to talk about our corporate business office. Walter.
Hello, everybody. My name is Walter Yombin. I'm a management and program analyst within the corporate business office for CESER. My main function is that I am the lead for enterprise risk management and internal controls, which for a short description is I I go through and I audit and evaluate CESER operations, how we do the work that we do, and identify if there are risks for fraud, waste, and abuse or disruption, and work with those operations leads to develop mitigation strategies. I would say the thing that I enjoy the most about CESER is I find, especially within our group within the corporate business office, we get along very well with each other. We collaborate a lot. We are always reaching out to each other because all of us have very specific subject matter expertise, especially when it comes to how DOE does what DOE does. And there's just a wealth of knowledge all throughout the organization, especially within the corporate business office. I would say the core value that matters the most to me is transparency. That being, we don't work well unless we understand what's going on. And so for me is anything that I'm doing in operations, it's very important that I am transparent with everybody because the work that I do affects other people. It affects all of the previous people that were speaking. It affects their ability to get their work done. And we don't want to prevent them from making those great things happening. Next slide, please. So I don't have too many slides on this one, but everybody previously, I really want to thank you for talking about the great work that CESER does. In the corporate business office is how we do what we do. There are 3 separate divisions within the corporate business office. There's Human Capital Management Administration. In that group, you will find the people who are responsible for coordinating the onboarding and offboarding of staff, travel. There's the IT program manager as well as the asset management program. And we also have our training coordinators and well, several other aspects when it comes to human capital management. It is a very short phrase that encompasses a lot of activity. The second division within CBO is Operations, Procurement, and Financial Services, which is where you'll find me in operations. I work in operations doing the function I described previously. In procurement, that is where we work with our contracts with our non-federal counterparts for procuring support services or for procuring products or anything that is for government use to help us with the mission. And financial services is the part of that division that is working towards. It is still a growing. It's still a growing group in the division, and basically working on trying to kind of fulfill that other part of procurement, which is financial assistance, working with the national labs, things like that. And then the third division within CBO is budget services, and that is the group that diligently works with the rest of the people here in CESER on helping them assemble their annual budgetary requirements, helping them to get their funding issued and out the door, and working with them on an annual basis when it comes to their program planning, which is definitely heavy lift. But there's a lot of great work that happens here in the CBO, and I'm very happy to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Walter. All right, so the reason you're all here, we are hiring. So as you may have seen on some of our promotional materials for this event, we have numerous career opportunities available coming up for cybersecurity specialists, research and development technology managers, regional preparedness and response experts, energy policy experts, risk analysts, supervisory program managers, management and program analysts, engineers, budget and finance analysts, operations support resource managers, and external affairs specialists. You can go now to USA Jobs and use the search term CESER to see upcoming postings. We have some, I believe, that are already posted now, and there will be more to come in the coming weeks. USA Jobs is the main place where you would apply, but you can also learn a little bit more by going through the applicant portal. I'm going to turn things over to Michelle Brown to say a few words about how to apply and throw your hat in the ring for some of these great positions.
Thanks, Elaine. Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle Brown, Senior Recruitment and Outreach Specialist with the Office of Recruitment and Advisory Services. If you are applying to the DOE applicant portal for the first time, In the applicant source section, select Other and type referral code #SecureEnergy with CESER. If you've already applied to the DOE applicant portal, please do not reapply in conjunction with this event, as your pre-existing candidate profile will be updated with this referral code. Unfortunately, we are unable to answer any questions on the status of Clean Energy Corps applications during this event. Each month, all candidates who apply to the DOE applicant portal will receive an email notifying them of their status. If you are deemed a potential fit for a particular position, you will be contacted by your hiring manager directly for an interview. And at this time, we cannot indicate when a candidate will be contacted. As Elaine mentioned, CESER's positions will be posted on www.usajobs.gov. I also encourage you to apply to the DOE applicant portal if you have not done so already, and that is located directly on our website at www.energy.gov/applicant-portal. For information about what you have learned today, you may reach out to CESER-HC@hq.doe.gov. And next slide, please. And as of today, CESER has 3 job openings posted on usajobs.gov. Many more vacancy announcements will be posted in the upcoming weeks. Therefore, we encourage you to save your search for CESER jobs on USA Jobs. And this way, the system will automatically look for jobs that match the keyword and other criteria in your search, and will email you daily as new jobs at CESER become available. So to save a search, sign into your USA Jobs account. If you don't yet have a profile, you'll need to create one to be able to save your searches. Start a job search by entering a keyword in the search box and click search. In our example here, you may simply type CESER in the keyword box, and you may further narrow your results using filters. Click Save this search on the search results page. We have that in the red arrow. And choose how often you wish to be notified. We recommend that you are notified daily, since some jobs can open and close within 1 week. If you select daily, you'll receive 1 email per day if new jobs have been added that match your search criteria in the last 24 hours. And lastly, click Save. Next slide, please. And now I'll pass it on to Dawn Jackson, Recruitment and Outreach Specialist with the Office of Recruitment and Advisory Services.
Thank you, Michelle, and to all the presenters. So this concludes our presentations. We will now open up to the Q&A. So if you have any questions, please type them in the Q&A tab to the right of the computer. But I do have a few questions. And this one is, and sorry if I don't say your name correctly, Sahum. Question for you is, what was your educational and career background prior to joining CESER as an analyst, if you are comfortable sharing?
Sure, happy to share. So prior to joining CESER, I'm fairly early on in my career, so I actually came pretty soon after leaving school. I have an undergrad background in climate science and public policy, as well as engineering, and then a master's degree in technology policy. I had worked for about just under 2 years in Congress as a legislative staffer, and then came straight to CESER. So it's been a really fun place to be in, early on in my career, and a really cool opportunity to both do some really exciting work that is sometimes hard to get access to, or opportunities to perform this early in your career, and also just a great place to learn.
Perfect. Thank you. So this question is for anyone on the CESER team. I have a background in cybersecurity. Does CESER provide a remote position in cybersecurity?
This is Elaine. I can take this one. We have a number of positions that are open. Some positions will require folks to be at DOE headquarters, but we will also have some remote positions that post.
Thank you. Okay, another question, and this one is very lengthy. How does CESER address well-intended policies that unfortunately are not anchored in fundamental engineering principle and so result in unintended consequences? For example, PJM recently issued a study indicating that policies are driving early retirements of firm power generation before new carbon-free generation will be available to replace existing demand, much less demand growth from extended electronification policies. This looming gap in grid energy is a real threat to our ability to power hospitals and other critical needs. So
I can take that one as well.
Okay.
Thanks for asking that question. Really interesting energy policy question. Our office works with analysts, oftentimes from national laboratories. I believe PJM is regulated by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, and the utilities that are within it have to maintain reliability, which is also regulated through NERC, the North American Energy Reliability Corporation. So again, our office may, if requested, provide technical analysis or technical assistance to the extent that it's appropriate for us to provide any requested information from those bodies. But they are the regulatory folks who manage the reliability of the grid.
Thank you. So what is the typical requirement for candidates? Education, experimental, etc.
Yeah, the office here, we're going to be posting a wide range of positions. In general, I would say the Department of Energy is a relatively technical agency. I believe that these postings will be at the GS-12 level and above. So that might give you a better idea of what's going on there. But again, we have program and management analyst positions, as well as external engagement or external affairs specialists, which would be potentially less technical roles. So again, I think, just stay tuned, do the USA Jobs search, and you'll see that we'll have a range of positions, basically helping to do all things associated with energy security and resilience.
Perfect, thank you. Is CESER integrated to some capacity with the intel community in terms of cybersecurity threat intelligence gathering?
I can address this one. So CESER works pretty closely with our Office of Intelligence and Counterintelligence, which is the part of the Department of Energy that serves as a member of the intelligence community. That said, CESER itself is not an intelligence organization. We do not perform intelligence activities, but obviously as part of the broader national security community that we're a part of, we do work very closely with our intelligence partners, both inside the department and outside, to make sure that our industry partners, our state, local, tribal, and territorial partners, and other government partners have all the information they need on potential threats, potential risks, potential hazards to do the work that we do together of securing the sector. So we're not an intelligence agency. We certainly coordinate with the other members of the intelligence community who do that kind of work, but we have a very good relationship overall and sort of have our own niche in that space.
Thank you. Next question, this is for Christian. Do you do any training exercises in Arizona, specifically with the Department of Emergency Management National Guard?
So I'm going to address the question in two pieces. Do we do exercises? Absolutely. We do this throughout the year with our energy partners, but also we do a lot of coordination with FEMA regions, right? So under the National Response Framework, there's a total 10 regions that we collaborate with FEMA. And some of those exercises, depending on the type of exercises, there's multiple stakeholders. So those stakeholders varies. So I believe you say the National Guard. We have had National Guard members on some of the exercises, but it also depends the type of exercises and what we need to do. Under the ESF 12, there's a lot of coordination with other agencies, specifically communications and the Army Corps engineers. So those are one of the major players on it. So those are regularly what we exercise. Albert.
Thank you. This is for anyone in CESER. What job categories do folks in PPRA usually fall in? Are they 2210s?
I can take that.
Go ahead, Marcia. I was going to say it varies.
Sorry, yes, absolutely. It varies. We have analysts, management and program analysts. We'll have operations resource analysts, as well as some 2210 job series and categories. So it varies across the needs for the organization. And that really goes for across CESER in general. The jobs categories and series vary. We have engineers, procurement analysts, budget analysts, the HR professionals. So it varies across the organization.
Yeah, I sit on PPRA and I'm a 801-1301, scientist in engineering.
Next question. I have, what type of training programs are being offered, if any? Are these programs made for people with no prior experience?
So the training programs that CESER offers, they're not happening directly through this hiring opportunity, but we do offer a wide variety of training programs. You can learn more about that on the CESER website. As mentioned, we do both training and exercises, and we work with a number of training entities. And we have everything from programs that target students at the collegiate level. We have partners who work with folks at the K-12 level, if you can believe it. And we do training that helps to advance existing professionals in their competencies as well.
Our next question, what TRL level do you normally look for in energy sector cybersecurity R&D funding? Do you have FOAs primarily look at traditional AAs, SBIRs, or do you also leverage OTAs? I don't know if anyone can answer that one.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, for that question, we would really want to refer that for later discussion. We really are working to spread information about the hiring process and the positions that are here that are going to be open and posted soon to USA Jobs.
Great, thank you.
So how much experience will be required for a cybersecurity specialist?
Dependent on the position posted. It will be listed there though.
May I add something, I think, as part of the discussion?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. So the one thing I would say, when it comes to like Lansing, I would say please read the job description. But the one thing that I will say through my experience, being in the federal service and worked in previous other agencies, I would say apply for it, right? If you believe you're a candidate and you believe you have at least the minimum requirements or you think you exceed those requirements, I will say apply it. Don't be your worst enemy, right? If you don't apply for the position, you know how are you gonna join the team, right? So what I'm trying to say is here, if you believe you have those requirements, you believe that skills, if you believe you have on, just apply for it, put your name in the hat, and hopefully, as we go through the review process, we're gonna look into your skills and hopefully you get an interview. So don't rule your name out without applying. So that's my advice to all of you on this. Thank you.
Is the FAC PPM level 3 or core 3 certification of useful to DOE?
I can speak to that. So they're speaking to FAI certifications for being both a program manager and also for being a core. I do not know if there are any core positions that are open from this hiring process, but But we do utilize cores in the procurement side of OPFS. They are an important aspect of helping us get our contracts out the door, and also for modifications and stuff like that. FAC PPM, yeah, we do have program managers. They are not within OPFS, but that could be of value, but it is not a requirement for any of the CESER positions.
What is the technology state currently being used by the deployment team? Are there any plans to change or update it?
Sorry, I don't think I have enough specificity to answer that question.
Yeah, again, that's probably a question for a different forum.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, does R&R deploy in conjunction with FEMA or independently?
I will say both. So sometimes as part of the national response framework and FEMA gets activated, we activate and we support FEMA. There's in some instances on where we have activated, coordinated with FEMA, but we kind of left that action. So it also depends on the type of response that we do.
Okay,
And I think the one thing I also want to highlight is that when we talk about deployment on responsive restoration, I want to make everybody aware DOE is not, climbing poles. They're not, pulling cable and connecting the grid. We don't do that. Right? We use our technical expertise to coordinate among the federal government. We coordinate with our partners on the private sector, right? And we make sure that, everybody is in sync for a national response, right? We do help in the logistics in some of these cases, but the one I think I highlight that when we do response here, we're not, working on the poles. We do get deployed to national response centers, like being here at FEMA in Washington, D.C. We go to the regional centers. We have done into forward operating centers as well, but we're not working on the electrical poles. So we do a lot of coordination, technical expertise. We work through the national laboratories to making sure to test, some efficiencies that may have to kind of help deploy, coordinate some of the activities on how we work when a state, for example, needs resources. That's what we do. We'll do a lot of coordination and partnerships. So I hope I answered your question.
Yeah.
How closely does CESER work with CISA?
I can speak to that one. So for folks who might not be familiar, CISA or CESER is the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, which is part of the Department of Homeland Security. They serve as sort of the national coordinator for critical infrastructure protection efforts under the U.S. government. And so as a sector risk management agency, one of 16, we work extremely closely with CESER on a day-to-day, sometimes hourly basis to make sure that not just the energy sector, but the entire critical infrastructure set of sectors, all 16 of them, are coordinated, are aware of what we're learning from the energy side, and that everything that we're doing at DOE is being done in part with our federal partners to make sure that, whether we're working with a state or a local government or an industry partner, folks are hearing the federal government speak with one voice.
Perfect. Another question, does CESER offer grant or compliance positions?
At this time, we don't have any grant positions.
And do you use a CRM?
Can you spell? There's lots of acronyms. So what CRM are you referring to?
And that was the question.
Okay.
Sorry. So let's go to the next one. We only have a minute left, so this will be the last question. Is having security clearance necessary to work in CESER?
No, it's not. It's not necessary for all positions. There are some positions that will require security clearance.
Thank you. Okay, so this concludes the CESER information session. If your question was not addressed today, we will send a response via email. So we do have quite a few more questions, so we'll try to get those responded and sent out. That's all I have, and I will turn it back over to Marcia.
Thank you. Just wanted to say thank you so much for joining today. We hope you were able to glean a lot of information from this session. If you do have any questions, you can always reach out to our website. It is, or send email questions to our CESER hc@hq.doe.gov page. And we'll get back to you with any questions that you might have. So thank you so much for joining the webinar today.